Welcome to Syntra, the manufacturing engineering platform from Manosage. Syntra was not built as another software product. It emerged from decades of operational, strategic, and organizational experience observing how businesses struggle with fragmentation, communication overload, and disconnected decision environments. Syntra vertically integrates the entire manufacturing engineering workflow, from drawing to deployment, into one AI-native pipeline. The pipeline itself is a reflection of the domain's expertise, executed at the synergy of human and digital intelligence. Syntra delivers two things. First, speed. What used to take about 120 hours, spread across 4 specialists using multiple disconnected tools, Syntra finishes in 3. 1 drawing in, 15 production-ready deliverables out. Second, visibility. Syntra gives the C-suite and investors a clear line of sight into every program. It helps leadership set the vision, make decisions with confidence, and design the ROI before a single dollar is committed. Let me walk you through how it works. This is Syntra running locally on my workstation. No cloud dependency, your drawings never leave your machine. I log in as a process engineer and create a new project. Project setup is where Syntra becomes powerful. This is where you define the manufacturing scenario the rest of the pipeline will model against. You start by selecting the region of manufacturing, because labor rates, supply chains, and regulatory baselines all shift with geography. Next, the physical level of automation, anywhere on the spectrum from fully manual to fully automated. Syntra adapts every downstream calculation to match. Then you build the digital infrastructure. You can construct the entire Industry 4.0 stack, from sensor layer to MES to enterprise systems, or select only the layers you actually need. Finally, you set your quality and regulatory requirements, ISO, FDA,
RAWs, and others. Each one cascades automatically into the control plan, the PFMEA, and the validation protocols downstream. Every combination of these settings is saved as its own revision. You choose which revision to proceed with, and you can always come back to switch revisions and explore a different scenario against the same drawing. This is what makes Syntra a true modeling platform. Not one answer, a comparison of every answer that matters to your business. Module 1. Bill of Materials Extraction. Syntra reads the engineering drawing the same way an experienced engineer would. Parts list, callouts, tolerances, and materials. The platform uses Anthropic Claude by default, with built-in support for OpenAI, DeepSeek, and Qwen. In about 40 seconds, every component is pulled out and structured into a working BOM that every downstream module will build on. Module 2. Process Flow. From the BOM, Syntra generates the complete manufacturing process flow ASOP. Each operation is classified as manual, semi-automated, or fully automated, and that classification directly drives the labor and capital estimates you'll see later. What normally takes an experienced manufacturing engineer a full day of whiteboarding is here in under 2 minutes. But Syntra doesn't lock the engineer out. The domain expert stays in control. Existing steps can be modified, removed, or replaced. New steps can be added wherever they belong. And when the right path forward isn't obvious, the engineer can brainstorm directly with the AI agent, question the sequence, explore alternatives, pressure test assumptions, until the workflow is optimal. This is the synergy in action. AI generates the first complete draft. The expert refines it with judgment the AI doesn't have. The result is faster than either could produce alone, and better than either could produce alone. Module 4. Process FMEA. Syntra generates a complete
Process FMEA following the AIAG FMEA 4th edition standard. Failure modes, effects, causes, current controls, all auto-populated for every step in the process flow. Severity times occurrence times detection equals risk priority number. The platform highlights 4 priority bands automatically, so the team knows exactly where to focus mitigation. This single deliverable normally takes a cross-functional team 2 to 3 working days. Syntra produces it in under 2 minutes. Module 5, Control Plan. Because the control plan is generated from the same source of truth data as the PFMEA, every special characteristic shows up linked to the right inspection method, sample size, and reaction plan. No copy-paste, no version drift, no more wondering which spreadsheet is the current one. Module 6, Equipment and Tooling Specifications. Syntra specifies the equipment and tooling each operation requires and writes the user requirements document for every piece. These are the documents you'd hand directly to a vendor when asking for a quote. Format, structure, and content all align to industry expectations. Module 7, Initial ROI and Unit Cost Estimate. This is the first business case for the program. Unit cost broken down by labor, material, overhead, and capital. Annual volume sensitivity, payback period, accurate enough to decide whether the program is worth pursuing before a single dollar is spent on quotes. Module 8, Request for Quotation. Syntra generates a complete RFQ document, scope, specifications, drawings, timeline, and evaluation criteria, formatted as a Word document you can email directly to vendors. What used to take a buyer a day and a half to assemble is here in seconds. Module 9, Vendor Quotation Comparison. When the quotes come back, load them into the comparison module, side by side, weighted by the criteria you set: price, lead time, technical capability, financial stability. The matrix updates in real time as you adjust weightings, so you can see immediately which vendor wins under different priority scenarios. Module 10, Vendor Scorecards. The scorecard turns the comparison into a single defensible number for sourcing review. Procurement gets a clean recommendation they can take to the steering committee. Engineering gets to stay focused on engineering, both sides working from the same data.
Module 11, Updated ROI. Once vendor quotes are in, Syntra recalculates. This is no longer an estimate. This is a quoted, vetted, plus or minus 5% ROI. Accurate enough to take to a capital approval committee with confidence. Module 12, Facility Footprint and Utilities. Square footage requirements per cell, power, compressed air, water, exhaust, all estimated automatically from the equipment list. The kind of cross-functional back and forth that normally takes weeks between manufacturing and facilities engineering, Syntra delivers a solid starting point in seconds. From there, the facilities team isn't starting from a blank page. They're refining a model that's already grounded in the real equipment, the real process flow, and the real production volume. That's the difference between weeks of meetings and a single afternoon of fine-tuning. Module 13, Discrete Event Simulation. Before you commit, Syntra stress tests the line. The simulation engine runs your entire process flow against estimated cycle times, downtime distributions, and changeover patterns. The output? Throughput, utilization, work in progress, and bottleneck identification. A preliminary assessment of the throughput capacity of the process flow you defined in the previous module. This is a fast, built-in check to validate the line before any capital is committed. And we're not stopping here. Manosage, the team behind Syntra, is currently extending this capability by integrating Simulate from Minitab, bringing enterprise-grade discrete event simulation directly into the Syntra workflow. Module 14, Strategic Deployment Roadmap. Phase-gated milestones from quote acceptance through equipment install, commissioning, qualification, and production part approval. The full program on a single page. But the domain experts are not locked out. Every project milestone can be adjusted, resource allocations refined, timelines reshaped, so the roadmap reflects the team's real-world judgment, not just the model's first pass.
Behind the scenes, Syntra is doing something more powerful. It estimates the deployment cost and time based on every preceding module: the BOM, the process flow, the equipment list, the facility footprint, and feeds that output directly back into the ROI module. That's the closed loop. Change a milestone here, and the ROI updates automatically. Change an equipment selection upstream, and the deployment timeline adjusts itself. This is what makes Syntra a true platform. Every module talks to every other module, so the business case stays accurate no matter how many revisions you explore. Module 15, ROI Revision Analysis and Reporting. This is where decisions get made. Every scenario you modeled in project setup, every region, every level of automation, every digital infrastructure stack, every regulatory profile is now a saved revision with its own complete ROI. Select the revisions you want to compare, side by side, apple to apple. Evaluate the outcomes against your business objectives: payback period, capital intensity, annual benefit, operational risk, and identify the path that best fits the strategy. This is decision-making with confidence, not opinion, not gut feel, a structured comparison grounded in the same engineering data for every scenario. When you've chosen, download the full report as a Word document, ready for the steering committee, the capital approval board, or the investor pitch. One drawing in, multiple scenarios modeled, one decision out, fully documented,
fully defensible and traceable back to every assumption that produced it. One drawing in, 15 engineering deliverables out, 3 hours instead of 120. Syntra doesn't replace your engineers. It removes the 80% of the work that's mechanical, repetitive, and pulling them away from the decisions that actually need their judgment.
This is what the synergy of human and digital intelligence looks like in manufacturing engineering. If you're a manufacturer, we'd love to run Syntra on one of your own drawings. If you're an investor looking at the AI in manufacturing space, let's talk. If you're a partner who wants to integrate with the platform, we want to hear from you. Syntra, from drawing to deployment, powered by Manosage.